Hello, viewers. Hello, listeners to round 4 of the NRL, which could be episode 4 or 5. But anyway, it's round 4 of the NRL of the Talking Parra podcast, both on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. So please subscribe. Tonight, we have a full house tonight. We have M. Tatey, Sports TV. Matty, how you going, mate?
Yeah, all right.
That's good. We've got Joel from League of Inches. He's back again for another stint off the bench. His third appearance in a row. How you going, Joel?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
We've got our illustrious host, Adam Martin. How you going, Adam?
Good, Troy. Wonderful.
And coming back from a 3-match suspension, or maybe a 3-week holiday, I don't know. We've got, just like Ryan Madison, coming back from a 3-week suspension. We've got Hayden from the Entertain House. How are you going, Hayden?
Yeah, I'm going well. It really does feel to me like round 1. Obviously, it's not because we are. There's been 3 games played already, but for me, getting to go on Thursday night and getting to get back on the podcast with you boys, for me, this just feels like round 1 of footy for me. So very excited and good to be back with the boys, and welcome.
Great to have you back, and you have myself, Troy, from the Parra Cave podcast. But I'll go back to Adam, our illustrious host. He'll kick us off with proceedings.
Do you want to do these ones, Troy, or like you're trying to do that? Like a bit over there. For those watching, Troy's trying to flex, and it's not really working for me. Obviously, good to have Hayden back. Like I said, 3-week suspension. Probably should have taken the fine, Hayden, but we'll get to that a bit later on. Look, obviously the weekend's gone. We started 0-3. We thought there was a possibility. I know there's some frustration again. Look, I'm not as frustrated again. I haven't had as much time to break this game down, but I think, the effort was there. And let's see how many times I can sneak that in tonight. But look, the effort wasn't there in that first 20 minutes, which is probably the most disappointing thing. But we just weren't up for the collision early on. And so I've just taken this straight out.
Have you just taken VA's press conference?
Straight out of the press conference because that is honestly where I'm at with this bloke at the moment. I've never been a BA basher, but I really hate his podcast. I don't have to tell his podcast. His press conference. I hate his press conference. And to start being a bit more truthful, go, Bailey, you're human, but you fucked up, mate. You shouldn't have hit that ball back in. Because instead of going, individuals made some poor choices, we'll start making them, accountable for their poor choices. But anyway, we'll get to the team list later. It was an entertaining game for a neutral, if I was a neutral, but unfortunately I'm not a neutral. If I was sitting there watching that game, but I think a lot of the games weren't they, across the weekend? Like 5 games decided by 4 points or less, and some high-scoring games.
Ridiculous amount of tries.
It's the closest start to a competition in nearly 40, 50 years.
Well, someone said the other day, the ladder's flipped upside down to what it should be. Because the Tigers are in 70, so they shouldn't have existed last year. So that's fine. They're in a
relegated.
You got us in 16th. You got North Queensland in 15th. Newcastle, they're dreaming if they want the ladder flipped in 14th. But then you got Melbourne 13th, Cronulla 12th, Canberra 11th, South Sydney 10th. And you look at the top of the table, you got Brisbane, Dolphins, Manly, Warriors. So they're not wrong, but it makes entertaining footy. Look, I think you'll find those bottom teams will start to come up. It just shows how ridiculous the draw is. I'm not a fan of the draw. But back to the game. We'll start with the game first, and we'll get on to a bit of the media stuff. I just thought we started very poorly. Found a way to get back into it. The most frustrating thing as a fan was, like I said, a couple of those key moments. Bailey obviously just not letting the ball go out for 40-20. Obviously the forward pass that wasn't a forward pass. Watching Longa get out jumped by a second rower. But the most frustrating thing for me was our attacks looked a bit clunky in the first, 2-3 rounds. There's no doubt we've all said that. But when we wanted to score tries, when we were coming back, like the pass that Mitch threw to Sivo on the wing.
Where's that been? It's usually Guffer throwing that.
Yeah, it's usually Guffer throwing it. So why is that happening now? Like it's Dylan side usually when we do those plays. Dylan comes across and throws them. Like it was a brilliant ball and it was a brilliant try, but there's been so many chances when we could have scored a similar try and we haven't gone for it because we think, we don't need to score. Well, every game you need to score. The whole point of football is the team who scores the most points does win the game. I know, brainwaving analysis there from Adam. But the other frustrating thing for me, and you guys know it because I put it in the group chat every single week, is, and I've said it every podcast, like why are we kicking on 5th tackle all the time? Once we kicked on 4th tackle and it changed them at full momentum of the game when Mitch did it. And then we saw, obviously, them do it with Daly Cherubins kicking early, which should have been 40-20. I would have had half my bowl prediction. But if we would have done that in the first 2 rounds, we would have won both those games. It's just dumb moments. I don't know if it's dumb coaching or dumb moments, but if we're better and we actually start executing those things properly, we're going to be a team to beat again. So I'll go to you. Who wants to go first? Hayden, you've been away for a bit. We'll get your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought the bench, as Troy got his bold prediction right, I thought the bench was used well throughout the game. I thought Makatoa coming off the bench, someone who I've given a bit of a bash in recent last season and early weeks. I thought he played quite well. As you mentioned, our attack looks frustrating. We look like we're trying to score off every play. Every set just looks like it's, I guess it does in some points lead to a try, but it also leads to some bad turnovers and key possession downfield. Obviously, it wasn't great to see. Hopgood started the season tremendously, but the offload that went into the hands of Olakalatu, probably the big turning point of the game that caused quite a bit of frustration. But I think as the weeks go on, there is starting to be some positive signs and getting pretty desperate for a win. So, yeah.
Yep. Matt?
Yeah, frustrating. I think if Will picks up that ball and dives over, I think that could have changed the game completely because, as you can see, we were just thinking. But, yeah, the frustrating thing for me is I've never seen Mitch throw that pass until the other night. I think, like, when he first started at Parra, he used to throw them all the time with Normie on the other side throwing them. But, yeah, I've never really seen that bullet. And now that we know he's got it, like, can we see it more often? But the thing that frustrated me the most, and I don't know if you boys picked it up, was Gutho in the Olakuatu, when he took the intercept, he just put his hands on up. He kind of tried to snatch at it. If you look at one of the angles, it looks like Olakuatu kind of like, as he's pulling it back, Gutho touches it. So technically should have come back for a double knock on. But they confirmed the try, and yeah, it's a bit frustrating just to watch that moment as well. Like, there's certain plays there where Gutho is too busy whinging at the ref to get back in defense and got left short, or I just think just play on, just start. I don't know. It was just frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I think with Gutho, one of the biggest things was, like, as I mentioned here, we know how much he loves to play manly, so probably overdid a couple of things. I thought he had an outstanding game, and some of his, you need that every week. It's like Mitch when he plays the Tigers. You need that every week. You can't just turn up for one opposition. I saw the same thing you saw in that, obviously, that regard as well. And as for the Will thing, I was mentioning quickly, I thought Will was probably our best player. His carries are brilliant. Made one error, probably a little bit fatigued, and something. 99 times out of 100, he probably picked that ball up and score. But I guess it comes with confidence with footy teams as well. If we didn't need to score that try, if we were ahead by 20, he would have picked up and scored every time. So I think the boys will be starting to feel a bit of pressure as well. So, Troy, Joel, who wants next? Battle it out.
Joel, go.
I want to rap battle.
Yeah, look, I'm pretty disappointed still. Another game where we just let it go. Could easily be here going 3-0, but on the reverse, unfortunately. But tied with the Tigers, like, that's a team where everyone laughs at and just says they're pathetic at the moment. So it sort of sucks to be with them. But it's another week where we've conceded 30 points or more, and it's 2 weeks in a row. And I know there's some key edge forwards out and things like that, but I just don't think it's good enough, especially for where we want to be as a team. And I think the other disappointing factor for mine was that I felt like in the game, especially Moses went missing in some of the really big parts of the game. And if you want to sit there and be talking about the big money that you're getting and won and this Mexican standoff that keeps happening with the club, but at the moment for mine, he's not showing or proving that he deserves it. So, a bit disappointing. I sort of thought Gutho was pretty good, and one of the reasons why we stayed in the game for as long as we did. I was really disappointed with the no try for RCG. I thought that was obviously a try. I think everyone's come out since and said is at least a metre backwards. So I thought the officiating was pretty poor. I know we said that a lot about Parra games, but I just felt like we sort of weren't even allowed to get into the game at some times, and they just sort of made sure Manly were always on the front foot. But as I said, we can point fingers, but at the end of the day, we've got some players there that are top level, top class, and we're just not getting it done when we should be, which is a really disappointing thing.
Would you say the effort was there, Joel?
Yeah, well, look, I don't start with me because I'm with you. I've been a massive BA fan, but
It's just
I'm starting to I don't know if it's a bit of insanity that's coming along, and we'll go on about the lineup shortly, but yeah, I've used to watch all the pre-game presses, the captain's runs and everything. I've just stopped watching it all now because I already know what's going to be said, so no point.
I might do a edit video to play of the same robotic press conference after every game for the last 10 years.
It's like he's reading off the script, eh? It frustrates the fucking shit out of me. Like you said, we need a blow up. Like, you know, before we go, Troy, we'll talk about quickly referees, right? And I can't blame referees for some of the stupid decisions we made over the time. But you look back to round one, they come out and admitted they got obviously the thing where they play the ball wrong. Yeah, what we challenged. There was obviously a couple of other things in that game. That's a massive turning point at the 12-all at that time. So, you know, we could have won that game. We go to week 2 against Cronulla. I can't remember what happened, but something happened that we were blowing up about referees.
Gutho, HIA.
Well, that was one. There was something else, so I can't remember. But I think we're mainly pissed off about Blake. But there was a few like terrible decisions. I remember even talking to a Cronulla fan and saying this is a terrible refereeing display to both teams, really. So, and then obviously looking at last week, the forward pass, like, it's really disappointing we're talking about referees, and I don't know if they come out and said they got that one wrong, the forward pass. I don't know if they've really said anything. I think they've just ignored it and hope it goes away.
Yeah.
But they did get it wrong, and it was pretty clear to everyone. But if we've got the technology, it's time to start using it because, you know, there was another pass in another game that was pretty much exactly the same. I think it was the Knights-Dolphins game, and it wasn't called forward.
Even what Matt said earlier about that try that Lokoatu got, I thought it was pretty clear. One of those angles they showed Gutho's arm hitting the ball, and for the first 3 weeks, we've seen so many times already where the bunker gets involved, watches that 50,000 times. We get an ad about KFC, and it's given no try. But for some reason, it just was not looked at.
Well, that's what I was sitting there waiting for it to be called back, and then it came up down the bottom. Try confirmed. I'm like, Gutho touches the ball.
Yeah,
I know. We were blowing up because the other one, the 40-20, everyone thought that Garrick touched the ball, but this one you can clearly see Gutho touch the ball, and it hits it back into the hands. So I don't know. I feel like he needs a sticky blow up because then the refs might give us something the next week.
Well,
pay the fine. Do it.
I'm sure the fans will chip in for the fine.
Yeah, well, the way Troy's selling merch, he'll be able to. Troy, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, available now actually, but look,
there's no chance. Sorry, Hayden, there's no chance of Ryan Madison paying his fine.
It was a game there. It was a game there to be won, obviously. But the thing with Parramatta is we need to lead from the front because we aren't the best team chasing points. So we need to lead from the front. And as you said, Adam, slow start, a lot of silly little errors, and Manly got out to that 14-0 lead. Look, I think, 3 of the tries that Manly scored, the one you were talking about with Wonga Blake when out jumped, I think that's a very hard one, I think, because
Adam called it. Adam said we always make Schuster look like friggin' Andrew Johns last week.
Yeah, but okay. Well, we'll go to the Schuster chip and chase. You can't defend that, and that was so close to the line. You can't. Yeah, exactly. So you can't defend that, and they scored the try there. The one with Wonga Blake being out jumped. Well, he's running back towards his own try line, and you got the attacker running front. You can't. It's very hard to. If you're standing still and jumping, that's a bit of a different story. But
you don't. That's the thing. You don't stand still and jump. You've got to attack that better, and that's where the problem is with.
Yeah, but when you're facing your own try line and you've got the attacker running the same way, he's got the advantage because he can see the ball
he
easier.
Shouldn't be found in that position. He should be back from the line coming forward as well, and that's basics 101 of defending in the centres and taking a kick, and that's the problem. We shouldn't get that. Most of us do, but a first-grade footballer like Wonga, who's played however many games he's played, should be getting those moments right, and he's just not. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. And obviously the intercept try, we've talked about that one there too. So, look, we're not that too far off, to be honest. We talked about it in the group chat as well, Mitch's goal kicking as well. Not to say that Mitch has cost us the games, but obviously Matty's come out and said that he's using a different kicking tee. So it's
a couple of them did this week. I don't know. It's like a smaller version of the ones
they're terrible to use. I've tried to use one of them.
So then perhaps maybe I don't know the reason. Well, no, I don't know the reason why he's changed tees. So maybe he could go back to his old one because
maybe it's sponsorship.
It could be, but we saw
they're made by
last
the
year.
same people.
Yeah. So we saw last year how good his goal kicking was. So maybe you should go back to the old one. But the other concerning thing was definitely that left hand. I think it was the left hand side defense. Was it that Manly exposed like twice in 5 minutes? So if they get you one time, well then you obviously learn from that. And there was just so much space on that side for Manly to come in and around. So
they've done that to us for years. That same they like attacking that left hand. They did it to us at Combank. Was it last year they beat us at Combank?
Yeah. So I mean, just to have that much space on that side twice, and I think once it led to a try, and the second time it was just shut down. But then I think the next play they scored off that anyway. So, but the good positive thing was that all 4 reserves were used for more than 5 minutes. So, not to blow my own trumpet, but the fact that the first 2 weeks it hasn't been done. So it was 30-something degrees on Thursday
but I
night
think
as well. So
I think having 2 forwards go down kind of forced BA's hand there.
It does. It does.
Murchie didn't have to go for that head knock. Gyro doesn't come on. So you probably got lucky there. Thanks, HO.
But I mean, still, he didn't have to use that particular reserve, did he? He could have used something else.
I actually thought his reserve struggled too because when we come back in that game, Regan Campbell wasn't on at the end of the game, was he? Was I the one that noticed that? Like that's poor. That's like poor substitutions. He needed to be on there. I know it's probably gas, but you say how important it is to have him starting the game, but he should have been there at the end as well. So, one thing he didn't mention.
He's got to stop playing him the whole first 40. That's the problem. RCG's been playing, but then he sits out. He only comes on for a 10-minute stint or something. You've
got to give him, that first 20 minutes, and then get him, as you said, Matt, to start that second half pumped up. Get someone
It'll be a simpler solution because we know Matt is starting the second row. Probably put ADB also can come in the middle if he needs to. At full force, if Madison goes back to the bench, for example, and comes on and plays that middle, as we've spoken about. But one thing I want to talk about is the Tom Trbojevic try, where he just ran over the top of us, and we're obviously retreating back. But to me, which obviously it's been addressed this week, but that showed, and Troy said it before it happened, that showed our fatigue through the middle. Because I don't care how good a fullback he is. That was just a barge over play by a fullback. Barge over play should not be scored by fullbacks over front rowers and hookers. So that was one of the disappointing things for me. But it comes back to substitution. We'll go through quickly player of the match. I've already mentioned mine. I thought Will Penasini, pretty outstanding. But I could easily say Gutho as well, based on his effort and he actually puts in. But it's just kind of a given now when he plays Manly. But I want that to be Will's standout game. Dylan's been copping a lot of praise this week for the effort he put in. The effort was definitely there for Dylan, is what they're saying. But I don't like it. I just don't like it. I don't like the way Dylan's playing. I know he's lost without Laney. I've said it every week, but people are fucking idiots is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not good for your 5'8" to be running 170 metres and running the ball 23 times.
Yeah.
Like, if he's running 170 metres and he's touched the ball 50 times and he's put line breaks on and he's created plays, but look back to those 23. Like, he tried to hit Bryce a couple of times and Bryce's whole running is absolutely terrible. How he's kept his spot, I'll never know. But, yeah.
Bryce's everything is horrible.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. He's got a good flick pass. Give him that much. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I need to see more out of Dylan this week, and I'm hoping he does stand up. Either he just runs it clear and gets dropped on his head again. That'll do the job for us. So that's my player of the match. We'll go to you, Troy, first because you reverse order from last time.
Yeah, well, I think you pretty much covered it pretty well there. I think, as you said before, Will's run outs from near our line were pretty tough. Unfortunately, he didn't pick up that ball to score that try, but he's only a young fella. He'll learn from that, obviously. But yeah, Gutho as well. Just those 2 tries that he scored, and bits and pieces of his game there and there. And look, with Dylan, we called for him to run the ball a few more times. There was slight glimpses of times where he did run and you thought maybe he's just going to get through the gap, but definitely, as you said, Adam, he is missing Sean Lane, but he just hasn't had the start of the season that he'd hoped for.
He's just not creating anything. Like, off the set plays, obviously he's creating got a couple of try assists and stuff, but he's not creating any ad-lib play by running the ball himself, which is most disappointing for me because I had him last year as a breakout year. If you didn't, we'll agree there, but I actually had him down. Did I put him down as our player of the year, start of the year when we did that? I can't remember, but I know I thought to myself how he's going to have that year where he's going to, stand up to be one of the best 5'8" in the game. Because look, he was the second best 5'8" in the game last year. Hayden?
I've had to think about this and I want to give it to Gutho, but you know what? I'm going to give it to Makahesi Makatoa. He was coming off the bench. He ran over 100 metres. And for our forwards to be going down, obviously, both Dury and Murchie, I thought he did a great job coming on to provide getting us back in the game. So I'm going to give it to Makatoa here.
Yep. Joel?
I'll go Gutho. I think without him, I don't think we're staying in the game how we did. And I didn't get a chance to win the game. I thought he was everywhere. And I know he loves Brookie. He loves playing there. But, I just thought he was captain inspirational. And one of the guys that really wanted to be there from start to finish, which was good. And as Hayden said, I was actually pretty impressed with Macca as well off the bench. I thought so far in his career, I feel like he's been a player that just makes up the numbers in a way. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I just feel like he's always in there just because he's in the top 30 and needed a spot in the 17, blah, blah, blah. But that on Friday night, whenever it was, forgetting now, try to erase from my memory. But he was really good and really made an impact actually for once off the bench. And I think he's sort of shown now that could be his role moving forward, coming off the bench and providing a bit of spark for us, which we really need at the moment, especially while we're having to play Maddo in the second row and once we're for Lane to come back as well. I think Dury might be good this week. We'll talk about, obviously, this week's game coming up. But I think Dury would be good off the bench and give that spark as well. But, I just really like Macca's performance as well.
Yeah, I'll go through his stats before I go to Matt because I think it's probably his best game since he took it to Nelson down in Melbourne last year. He had a bit of aggression about him there. And I said I've called Greg Cat every week. So someone needed to show that aggression off the bench. And he has because we've kind of seen it. In 27 minutes, 11 runs, 119 metres and 13 tackles. So when you look at stacking him against Campbell Gillard, Campbell Gillard made 13 runs for 128 in 53 minutes. And Paulo was 16 runs, 149, 66. So you double his minutes, and I know it's not always possible to get through the workload. We could have had the ball more when he was on, and obviously we've done less attack defence. But if you were to double his minutes and put in 54 minutes, it means he's easily running over 200 metres. So he's had that magic number. That magic number is always 8 metres. Every run should average out for 8 metres, and he's well and truly over that. So, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to say Penasini. I have to say, I'm spewing because still had Toto in my super coach and forgot to sub him out. And Penasini got stupid amount of points, like 50 or 60. So, which would have won me my super coach week 3. But yeah, I reckon Penasini. Yeah, honourable mention too for the boys off the bench. Actually, especially, I think Mimosas. I reckon he's kind of going to be that Murata role once he finds his feet at Parra. Some of the carries he's been doing the last couple of weeks, but yeah, I'd like to see him thrown in there a bit more, maybe starting spot, and have Matto off the bench.
Yeah,
I think just quickly, I think one pleasing thing is a few years ago you would have seen Manly 40-10 or something like that, but they did show that they can score points.
Would you say they showed some effort?
They did show a little bit of effort, but
The effort was there.
the effort was there because, as I said, a few years ago they would just give it up. We saw what happened.
Troy, I haven't been back to Brookies since that
56-0.
Yeah,
I haven't been back. I haven't been back either.
I haven't been back either, and that's what I'm saying. Like once Manly got a roll on that day, we never came back. Mind you, it was 56 degrees as well, but just say that could have been
degrees are as high as the points.
That could have been another big score against us, but
yeah,
we did get back into the game and just.
But how do you score 30 points and still lose in a game of football?
Because the other team scored more points.
Yeah, well, I'm just repeating the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't agree with that at all because I feel like we're way past that team. We made the grand final last year. We're a team that obviously wanted to be at least top 4 this year and have another shot and taking it out. After starting 0-2 and all the talk in the last week from the players were how desperate they were to win this one. For mine, in the opening 10 minutes, it was all Manly. We looked like we didn't even want to be there at the start, and we were lucky they only scored 1 try. I thought we were really disappointed to start that game last week.
So are you saying they're the only ones that can fix it? You seen those press conferences?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
We know what's going wrong. We know how to fix it.
Well, they need to fix
it. For a team that's striving to win a premiership, after being 0-2, you need to win a game against one of the arch rivals. I just thought we were extremely poor to start the game. I was pretty.
It's not an easy place to go, and you're right, but you've got to weather that first 20 minutes, which means you've mentally got to be up for that first 20. And we weren't. We started too slow, and the game was, even though we got ourselves back in the game, and we could have found ourselves obviously, 22 or whatever. We still, we were always on the back foot from that moment, the way we started. So I'm going to run through that Penasini stat quickly because it is pretty impressive. 15 runs, 181 metres, 2 offloads, 21 tackles. So pretty solid for Will. That's the level he needs to be at every week. Matt, you said the bench was pretty good. Just want to run you through Greg's stats of 6 runs for 52 metres. But 6 runs in 14 minutes isn't too bad, so I'll give him that much. But he just needs a bit more. Someone needs to make the bloke angry. I don't care if he breaks someone's jaw against Troy.
Sorry?
I don't care if, remember he said he broke someone's jaw last year. I want that kind of anger out of him. But
that was actually against the Panthers, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was.
Bring him on.
Yeah.
But saying that when it happened, he had Nathan Brown standing next to him, revving him up every fucking time. So
yeah, well, we're going to get to that soon, Nathan Brown. But I want to give Gerard a rap as well because I haven't really spoken a positive word about him. Called him a Knights reserve grader playing first grade at Parramatta, which shocks me that someone can go from Knights reserve grade to Parramatta. But he didn't do anything excellent. But I actually noticed him on the field and noticed a bit of there was effort. From him, and I'm not saying
so you're telling us that the effort was there from
but it actually was I generally didn't mean that one. The word was coming, but it looked like he wanted to have a go and he wanted to win the game and he wanted to prove a point that he wanted to play for the team, and that was impressive. I didn't mind a couple of the offloads he threw and stuff as well, so look, the effort was there. But let's move on. Obviously some news for the week before we get the game. We kind of knew about it last week. We didn't really mention it, but Brad Arthur re-signing. believed to be one of the final pieces in the Mitchell Moses deal. Look, it means nothing to me. If we lose our next 5 games, Brad Arthur's gone at the end of the year. Simple. Every contract has performance-based targets
Is
in
that a
them.
bold prediction, is it?
No, it's not. It's just a contract means nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I could sign a contract now to Hayden that I give him my next born kid. I can change my mind on that. It doesn't matter. doesn't want to. Yeah. Anyway, but you know what I mean? Like, contracts really mean nothing in rugby league. You can get out of them like that because they're all performance based.
So the question is then, who do you replace him with?
Well, that's
if he goes.
I'm not worried about that yet.
Shane Flanagan.
Yeah.
No,
He's got a contract at Manly.
I
Doesn't
don't.
matter.
No. Flanagan has a clause in his contract. If he gets offered an NRL position, he can get out of his assistant contract. Every assistant coach has that clause in their contracts.
Well,
and
I don't
he
agree.
wants
Right?
Parra, and we know he wants Parra, Troy. He
Rivals
still
has the
says
same
we.
thing.
He still says we when he talks about Parra. So
I personally
I'll ask him.
don't think that he's proven to be that great a coach.
I just think he needs to be like a coaching director or something. Like, I don't.
Are you talking about Brad or are you talking about Flanagan? I'm talking about Flanagan.
Yeah,
Like,
Flanagan. I feel like BA needs help. BA needs help. He's trying to do it all, and they keep offering him. I'm going to break the news now, but we were offered Wayne Bennett on a platter as coaching director last year, and they turned him down because BA was scared he'd take his job.
Well, we've noticed that with the way he gets rid of his assistant coaches over the years. He doesn't like, having Trent Barrett there is a safe choice because no one's going to give him a first grade crack again for a few years. But my thoughts are that if we were to get rid of Brad because the effort wasn't there, we'd be pretty fucking crazy to not chase Craig Bellamy coming off contract and say, look, Craig, you reckon you're the best coach ever? You reckon you're the best coach to ever coach? Come get Parramatta a comp they haven't got for 36 years. Fucking prove yourself. Let's see how good you are. Well, it mightn't happen, but financially, could we do it?
Absolutely.
Correct. We're one of the strongest financially based clubs there is. So
but
easily
it won't happen.
It mightn't happen, but you got one thing I've learned in the last 12 months, Troy, is you got to shoot your shot. All right.
Hey, can I just say that Trent Robinson was kicked from Parra when he was a reserve grade coach and was told he'll never coach first grade.
It's all right. Reid Mahoney was kicked from the Bulldogs and told he'd never play first grade.
About Michael Maguire, throwing one out there, assistant coach. I don't want him, but that's another option. There you go.
He had signed as an assistant coach, but then got offered the Tigers role and went there. Like, BA had coffee with him after he was fired for the Tigers and was going to bring him to Parra.
I'll say this now, like if we're not going to look for someone who can bring us success straight away, you've got to start thinking to a future coach and someone a bit younger. For example, and I'm saying this very biasly, but I honestly believe he could be one of the next coaches to get a crack. He'll get bored in the system soon, but you look to the NRLW, the Knights last year. Ronald Griffiths coached the Knights to a women's light premiership, the first one, got a team together. He was at the West Tigers as an assistant coach. He went on to coach the Indigenous All-Stars team this year. So he's a bloke that's making his way through the waves. I'd be happy to see Parramatta have a crack at some young coach like that because, one, I've worked with him. I know there's stuff he can do. But, we can't just keep recycling coaches because they might have been good at another club. It hasn't worked for us previously. But either's taking an assistant coach. And we might have told Trent Robinson he wasn't good enough, but we also put faith in Stephen Kearney just because he came out of Craig Bellamy.
BA came out of Craig Bellamy too.
BA came out of Craig Bellamy. Took a risk there. Exactly right. He hasn't won comp, has he? He's been consistent, but it's, I'm a big fan of people obviously doing their tenure and doing their assistant coaches and stuff, but
what do you think it means? If you haven't seen, you've probably seen it by now. What do you think it means for the club once, obviously 11 games to go, and then Brad Arthur becomes the longest serving coach for Parramatta ever? With obviously that success of the 80s and those few grand final appearances over the years, and then I guess you can count a grand final appearance last year, but nothing coming of it. What do you think that means for the club? Mainly you, Troy, but everyone can answer this question. for him to become the longest serving coach and have nothing to go against it compared to a lot of NRL coaches in this era, what do you think it means for our club?
Well, it's obviously tough to be a Parramatta NRL head coach because there's so much expectation to be successful because not only the supporter base, but also the fact that it hasn't been won for 37 years. So for him to be the longest serving this year, obviously the first half of his coaching career is really, really tough because we were coming out of that struggling period after the 2009 grand final. And then, obviously 12 and 13. And then 2016 comes along and we all know what happened there. 2017 got us back to finals. 2018, rather a year to forget. But since then, he's had us in the finals every single year since then. And we've seen, so last year was a grand final. The year before was week 2. I think it was 3 years of week 2 finals. So we've gone relatively sort of deep in finals, and last year was a success because we made the grand final, even though we didn't win it. We all look at Brian Smith, who is currently, until BA takes over, the highest serving coach at Parramatta, and a lot of people said the same thing about him. He turned the club around from where they were mid-90s, in the late 90s to early 2000s. He turned that club around and turned it into the sort of powerhouse that it was. Made a grand final, didn't win it, unfortunately. But then we saw him 2010, I think it was, make the grand final with the Roosters. So it's
the problem with Smith was there's a lot of problems with Smith, but the only reason we got rid of Smith was because we wanted a quick fix solution to win us a comp. We brought in Michael Hagan, who'd won a comp at the Knights and being just as consistent with the Knights, but got the job done. That Smith couldn't seem to get done with all those prelim. Look at it, 97, 98, 99, 2001 grand final loss, 2005 prelim loss. It was 2007 he got fired halfway through, wasn't it? Jason Taylor took over in 2007. So... But we wanted a quick fix solution. So it was obviously gone to the end of 2007. They had to bring in Hagan in 2008. But the club really screwed up, I think, there as well, because Taylor should have kind of kept the reins. So, but that's obviously my opinion. Well,
Taylor was hired and then done the promo for Parra, and then they hired BA and told JT to go. BA's already told the story in interviews. He was in Hawaii or something, got the phone call, but they just filmed JT. They just filmed JT at Parra head office in a Parra polo saying he's signed as the coach. So I don't know what happened there, but to me, it always sticks with me. I feel BA's just been rewarded from where he's got us through the salary cap issues we had. It's just
when you look at, I'll stop you there because it's been mentioned twice, and when you look at that, most coaches wouldn't have survived 2018. Doesn't matter what club. Yeah. The year we had in 2017, it was pretty obvious for us in 2018. I know a lot of it related to the whole Hayne Mena thing, and whatever happened there. No one really knows, but something happened there. He wouldn't have got through that year because it was pretty obvious he wasn't a coach who could handle those problems. And we've mentioned it a couple of times. It always seems to come up, but you look at Moi, who got shafted. The same thing's happened to Nathan Brown, which we'll get on to soon. When he makes up his mind there's some kind of issue, he doesn't seem to deal with it, and I feel like he seems to listen to other players a bit too much. That's my personal opinion of him. But I'll go and say he was lucky to survive 2018, but you're right, the salary cap stuff for 2016 helped him massively. To see him as we'll see him as our longest serving coach just shows he's been consistent, but it is the Parramatta way of just being happy for complacency, really. And that's the club we've become. We're happy to be complacent. We've never chased to be more.
Yeah. The thing I've got quickly, and it's always stuck with me what JT said when he had success for that little run with Parra. He said, you can't coach Parra. You have to adapt to their playing style. So you just got to let him play football, which is what he did. And look what happened. Brian Smith would never promote Jared Hayne in the first grade. Jared Hayne, JT takes over and he puts Hayne first week in, and look what happened. But to me, I feel like Moses and Guffo is the reason why we have kept BA for so long, because they want to be coached by BA. So for them to be happy and run the team and help sign new contracts, I feel like that's why. And it was actually not the club that done it. He had that option and took the option. So we didn't actually re-sign him. He just renewed, done the option that was already in that contract.
It's a point you bring up there. If we're relying on the two players, for example, and this is a thought I've often had, I've just given Gutho praise the effort he makes, but I sit back and watch Hayes.
So the effort was there?
Yeah, the effort was there from Gutho, yeah. But I watched Hayes Perrin play the Bulldogs on the weekend, a player we wouldn't give a chance in his proven position. And once again, I've got no problem with Gutho going to centres if he had to. I've often said that as well. But, what would Perrin be on the Bulldogs? $150,000, $160,000 a year? He doesn't need to do anything special. Sometimes we spend this big money on a spine that no other club's really spending. Besides the Roosters, they can spend what they want. But, we spend this big money on a spine. I wouldn't care if we lost one last year, but I wouldn't have cared if we lost two. I know it's going to cause uproar straight away, but to say, Gutho wants Brad Arthur there, if you get a good enough coach to come in, your Hayes Perham or your Sean Russell or your Arcee could come in and play fullback, whatever. The cheaper options, this is the club we used to be. We'd give these people a go. We'd bring someone through like Luke Burt. Luke, a brilliant player, but he was never an Origin player, never played for Australia. Probably should have played Origin. Yeah. But, the salary cap's changed a bit, but he wouldn't be you had him listed now. They probably rank him as playing fullback. He's playing fullback 13th or 14th on the list. But the way he was coached and the way their halves played and stuff, I can't even say it anymore, but he always put the effort in. You look back at that and you think, if we
never won a comp. That's the thing, and that's the thing with Parramatta. We can talk about this for Brad Arthur. And I know the salary cap stuff. We all give him raps for it, and I've loved the bloke for how he dealt with it. And I said at the time, and I've said it for years, no other coach coaching us would have got us through how he got us through. And whether people believe it or not, I think that did let him deserve a couple of years sort of free pass to get us back on track. I think personally he actually has done that, because I think he got us to the grand final last year. Now, that was pretty much his target to do, since he's choked in the finals the few years before that. Now, hand on heart, no team in the comp or in any other comp would beat the Panthers in the last 3 years. They've just been head and shoulders above the rest. No matter how we want to play it, no team's going to get near the Penrith Panthers. They've just been that good. But for mine, where Brad Arthur needs help is the club just needs to go to him and go, we need you to get better assistance, or we need to put in place a plan to get this team to that next level, because all the successful teams, if you look at the Storm, players play there because of Bellamy, or they want to stay there because of Bellamy. Look at, you talk about players, look at the Broncos, for instance, right now. Reynolds coaches that team. Now, everyone knows that. I don't mind if, say, Gutho has hands all over this football team, because it has been working to a certain extent. We didn't win it last year, and we've started pretty poorly this year, but the majority of it, if we want to be fair income, we've been in the top 4, top 8 for 4 years in a row, apart from the start of this year. And no other team has done that. So we're doing something right as a club. It's not just look out, we're now lost. I know Brad Arthur's getting sometimes his interchanges wrong. Shouldn't have had Jake Arthur in the team for most of last year. We know that. But he's obviously doing some good stuff in this team, because Cavalier didn't want to leave in the end. He basically got pushed out the door and was forced to. Marnie took the money early on, and I think he regretted that throughout the year last year. Arthur's doing the right stuff. I think we've been a bit too negative because of sort of what's happened at the start this year.
Well, he turns reject players that nobody wants to sign. into
Probably
stars
nothing
that everybody
more.
wants. Yeah. Well, look at Sivo. Look at all these players that have come on minimum, and that's where we're getting thing because we're signing these players on minimum. Look at Hopgood. Like Hopgood couldn't even get a run at Panthers first grade. He's come absolutely killed it the last couple of games, and if Eels don't sign him, a club's going to offer him $1 million friggin' dollars.
Yeah.
By the end of the year, like.
And that's where I personally, for mine, I'm not a fan of O'Neill. I think we need to be moving on from O'Neill and have someone who's stronger. Because look at the start we've had.
Ask Troy about O'Neill.
Look at the start we've had. We should be having someone sit. I don't know if there's something happening behind the scenes, but there should be a chat going ASAP. We need a defensive coach installed at this club ASAP because it's clearly not working. What's happened? I looked at the injury list. We've only got Shaw Lane to come back, really. And I know a lot of people, it feels like we've got a massive injury list, but it's mostly players that lost. They're not coming back. So we've got to deal with what we've got. And whatever we're doing right now, it's like 30 points in a row, 2 weeks in a row, is simply not good enough. You're not going to win a comp from it. So we need a defensive-minded coach to help. Let Brad Arthur do his man management. Look at everyone talk about Wayne Bennett. They say he hardly coaches. What he does 5% of the coaching. He's literally just there to get the players to turn up each week, do their job. Most clubs these days run that way. They need their main head coach. I reckon most people will be surprised by this. Hardly does anything, really. They're there to just watch what happens.
Well, you look at the Panthers. They had Serrato and Webster. You know what I mean? Like, and look what they've done to Dogs and Warriors the last 2 weeks. Like,
anyway, look, we'll probably have this Brad Arthur conversation again. It won't be the last time. We have it every year. But for me, I think the issue lies a bit further up, as we've said. You know, it seems to be a common thing of assistants going through assistants or whatever. The concerning for me is the junior push as well. Like, you know, when's our next big front row going to come through? Like, we're signing, you know, look who we've signed from other places. Like, I remember in Parramatta, remember when the Mena boys were both coming through, how excited every Parramatta fan was. Like, think back to like Jack Asamafunga or something like that. You know, you'd watch we'd go watch the 3 grades and watch these blokes come through, and there's none of that now. Like, I think our junior system's failing, and that's one thing Gus did good at the Penrith. Look at Penrith, same thing's happening at the Bulldogs now. He'll set
Paulie.
Paulie was exciting coming through.
The juniors isn't Brad
Arthur. It's not Brad Arthur, but yeah, like I said,
that's why they brought Nathan Brown in.
Yeah,
they brought Nathan Brown in to go and deep dive into the juniors.
It could be 5-10 years before that happens, though.
The problem is our juniors. Nobody wants, like, half our juniors now are playing for Dogs.
Yeah.
They've merged the juniors.
There's so many
Canterbury, and Gus has taken all the good ones.
More areas. Like, there's so many more areas. Like I told you boys when I went up to OzTag and stuff. Like, looking at some of the kids out in that West area. I know it's a booming area, but there's more areas we can be scouting and looking at kids when they're younger. Like we used to. I remember being a 13-year-old kid, and a kid I used to play with was signed by Parramatta at 13 years old. I'll say now, like, one of the boys I coached at OzTag, he's signed by Parramatta at 13 years old. Like, there's more. If we're losing areas, we need to take over areas. There's a lot of talent out there that never gets discovered. And we've gone, I'm trying to be careful how I word this. I'm trying to be very careful how I word this. But we've gone away from some areas, e.g. inland New South Wales, from players that used to be attracted to the NRL. You look back 10 years to looking to Western Sydney to bring through the next big, next big Islander kid, like Polynesian. That's what we're looking at. That's honestly what we're trying to bring in. And there's more talent out there than looking at the Fijian Islands and all this kind of stuff.
We signed the LeBron kid from Broncos.
Yep.
He's massive for his age.
But he's 18. He can be playing.
He
can be playing first grade if he's that good.
Yeah.
He's obviously not that good. I don't care. Like, if Brisbane let him go, he's obviously not that good at 18. Because if he's 18 years old, he could be playing with. And there's been no mention of him.
Wormu was the next big thing at Cowboys.
He's a fucking cat. I wouldn't have let him go.
Good question, Hayden.
I was about to say the same thing. This got us going.
How about we talk about this week's game?
Yeah, let's move on. Actually, no, we've got to talk about Nathan Brown leaving quickly.
Really?
Yeah.
Nathan Brown's gone to the Roosters. To me, it's a little bit disappointing. I said to you last week, I think we could have used his impact off the bench. I'll go through the rumor of apparently what has happened, and it's gathered a bit of momentum. I think we've all kind of seen it, that apparently we knew something had to happen. Something had to have happened. Like, he was signed on a $750,000 or $650,000 deal. In a pretty big battle with Manly to keep him, and we decided to keep him. I was against that deal straight away. I didn't think we should have kept him.
Moses had a few things to do with that deal, just saying.
Yeah. So, but to me, the rumor floating around is that apparently he questioned Brad's choices, mainly around his bench rotations and having Jake on the bench last year. We've always mentioned about having a 14 on the bench that can cover positions. We'll get to that this week soon. But
we actually questioned whether we were going to bring Hayden back this week and off the bench. And, keep Joel. So maybe one of us is going to go.
We've all got our cards ready. We're actually voting someone off at the end of the episode. But anyway, look, we won't touch too much on it. I just don't like the way the players get thrown out of our clubs.
I think most of the thing I heard was because of that off-field incident at the pub with Hayne, and then since then he hasn't been. And it's just a miracle how he's been out injured for the amount of weeks he's been out, and all of a sudden he's lining up for Roosters. Miracle, no injury.
There's nothing wrong with him. And the thing was, after that Hayne thing, he still played first grade, so there had to be more to it. We don't need to go into it. We'll leave it at that. I don't like the way that Brad, it's, Philly, Tim Menner, Nathan Brown. Nathan Brown doesn't compare to the other 240s done in the club, but the effort was there from him every game he played. So one more. I had to get one more in.
What I don't like on that quickly is that fact that we're strengthening a direct competition to us in terms of, say, top 8, top 4, someone who we've struggled to beat in the last few years. They've been a bit of a bogey side for us, and we're just basically gift wrapping them someone that we already know is going to come out for them and do a job, probably do it really well, probably going to bash the shit out of us next week. Like other clubs will just have this sort of scenario and just let the player play in New South Wales Cup for the year and then go somewhere next year. Or if he was to go this year, if it was so bad, the relationship, let him go to, say, the Tigers or the Warriors or someone that's not going to be sort of a direct threat as such for now, and just sort of let him go there and do his thing. But I just don't like the fact we've strengthened someone who's already strong enough and someone we really struggle to beat.
I know
it's catch as well.
I know it's a little bit far out, but is he going to directly get a spot on the bench at the Roosters team?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And you could even see him, I hate to say it because I don't like talking about injury, but you probably could see it that he could be number 13. Radley could be out due to suspension, concussion. I hate bringing up injury. Let's just say suspension. You could see him going back into that 13 role. If Trent sees the aggression, grubbiness that he brought to our club, he's going to use him for sure. That's just what the Roosters kind of bring, that mentality. You look at what they originally did with Latrell Mitchell and players like that.
They're big boppers. Maria Hargraves, Lodge, and Radley have history of either suspension or injury. So I wouldn't even be surprised if he has time starting throughout the year as well. So.
Let's add a fourth one with injuries, the suspension to this. Go Roosters.
Yeah.
But the problem for me was, we can talk about cap space. We'll offload cap space. We'll have to upgrade someone in the top 30, which we still haven't done. But we're not going to spend that money this year by look at it. Unless we're going to say to Hopgood, we're going to give you an extra 150,000. Well,
I think that money could be the Sheridan transfer fee.
No.
He's not going to come back. He's not going to come back from England.
But even if he is, he's not going to be on that kind of money.
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Because I know they want a big transfer fee.
With these release things, right? We're giving him to the Roosters. We need a centre. We know we need a centre. So our fair trade would have been, all right, you have Nathan Brown, we'll take Suwali off you. Like, I think that's a great deal.
100%.
Yeah, we'll take either of them. Like, really, we're not fussy guys. We'll take either of them. And I know you guys are struggling with cap space, so we'll free up a bit of cap space for you as well. So,
We sound like the Newcastle Knights asking for Egan and Nat Butcher. We'll take either of them for Dominic Young.
Well, now Dominic Young's found himself in reserve grade this week, hasn't he?
Why don't we put in some question marks there and just take Dom Young for the rest of the year?
No. Did you watch him? Did you watch him play on the weekend?
Yeah, he's dropped
he doesn't want to be
this
the
week.
Knights, but he doesn't want to be the Knights. He's done with that.
Mate, he
It
made
Doesn't
Louis
matter.
look good.
There is a reason he was dropped. He was absolutely terrible, and it has nothing to do with the fact that he signed somewhere else next year.
But in saying that, see, a coach actually drops a player from a
Correct.
poor performance.
Correct.
Yeah. I
Can we
like
get-
Dom Young and Simon
Can we
Smith
get Adam
every week.
O'Brien? Like,
In saying
Nah.
that, in saying that, Bailey and Wonga haven't played as bad as what he did.
They
They
both
played
learned.
bad.
They both learned under Craig Bellamy.
yeah, Wanga passed to Sivo a week late, but it's still the little in and away draw and pass.
And we scored off it, and it was a metre forward. But anyway, all right, let's get on this week's game. Parramatta versus Penrith, obviously. First battle of the West, Thursday night. We know what happened last year. Knocked him off twice, obviously, in the regular season. He's got his grand final. He wants revenge. But
Revenge, mate.
I'm not going to talk about Penrith to start with. I'm going to talk about our history over the years, having a really good record of beating the premiers from the year before when we play them, especially at home. I think back to some memorable games. I remember thinking back to, must have been 2014 or 2000, I think it was, when we beat the Roosters at home, and it's one of the gutsiest Parramatta performances I've ever seen. We beat them like 14-12 or something. We had players out, we had injuries, and it's, you think of that, like I know, obviously we knocked off Penrith last year. Would have beat Melbourne the year before for sure, wouldn't we?
We
We
Oh
did.
no, they didn't win the grand final.
We
Shit.
did, yeah.
That's how
We
beat
did.
them in
Rainy.
2019.
The rainy game.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Big
like,
bomb.
yeah, correct. So we do have a really good record. So it's obviously something we get ourselves up for. And look, we need to win as well. We're $3.25 at home on Thursday night against Penrith, which is gamble responsibly, but I'll be having a little dabble on that for sure.
So is that with Dabble or with Neds or Sportsbet or which one? Do you
We're
guys
open.
want?
Hang on. We're
Whoever
open
wants
to
to sponsor us.
sponsorship.
Whoever
Yeah.
wants to sponsor us.
Or
wait-
yeah.
I'm waiting-
MBet, proud
I'm
sponsors of
waiting
the
on
Parramatta
Dabble.
Eels.
I'm waiting on Dabble. I'm holding out for Dabble. I'll put it out.
Anyway, let me run
Yeah.
through the team. As I said, 1 to 5, no changes, much to our shock. Brown and Moses in the halves. Hopgood at lock again. He was Hopgood last week. He was Hop great the week before. Madison returns in the second row. Cartwright somehow keeps his spot in the second row. Paulo, Hodson, Campbell Gillard. Bench of Dury, Greg, Makatoa. And Matt, I know you love a handy, so number 15 is your boy, isn't it?
Yeah, Brendan Hands.
There you
Let's
go.
go.
I'll let you have
He
that.
should have been
moment.
in there last year.
Well, number 18, of course, is Jake Arthur as stock standard.
Wasn't he third on your hooker list, Matty?
Third on my hooker list. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he was. But
I
So
didn't know you
he's
had a
jumped,
hooker list.
Hey.
Matt.
he's jumped. He's jumped.
He was number one.
no. But he can hooker, lock, second row, 5'8", and do it all, mate. And he's the one player that Penrith are still angry to this day left.
Well, I'll ask a question.
I thought that was Jermaine Hopgood.
No, that was before Hopgood left. He
So
left, and they were
so there's-
angry. No,
yeah, I know
they're
that.
still
So
angry about.
So there's two
All right.
players.
Yeah,
That's not.
Not
I'm
angry about
not
Wonga
gonna
Blake.
give, I'm not going to give Penrith the time to talk about much of their shit this week because I really just want to ignore them. But we'll talk about hands. And to me, is it that Brad watched back and see that Hodson was struggling, or is it
Yeah,
that he's doing this thing again where he likes to give players games against their old team?
No, I think it was what you just said.
that's if
first
he
of all.
actually gets on.
He'll get on.
He'll get more than 5 minutes.
Oh, that's Troy.
Oh, is that your
Carmel.
bold prediction, Troy?
No, you can't have it 2 in a row, mate. You can't do
Why
that 2
not?
in a row.
A handy that lasts more than 5
All
minutes sounds like a good night
So-
at Combank on Thursday.
So I got some breaking news coming through from Captain's Run tonight, and it will be 1-17.
There you go.
Breaking news from Captain
Breaking
Run.
news from Captain's Run.
Is that your
1-17.
bold
mate.
prediction? Because you could have
Well,
said
so
that's your bold
Tuesday.
prediction.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, captain's on a Tuesday night. I agree with what we said last week, Matt, when you said about obviously throws off our bit of setting up our stuff for all these Thursday, Friday night games. That's obviously the main change to me. I'm guessing Cartwright starting and Dury off the bench is due to that little bit of a niggle that Dury picked up against Manly. Obviously because he's returning from those ACL injuries. I think it was one of the same things that Ray Stone had in that game as well, like a bit of meniscal stuff that flares up. Look, I'm disappointed. I don't want Wonga and I don't want Bailey to get dropped at the same time because they've both been equally as shit.
We were arguing about that on Facebook, weren't we, Adam?
Yeah, we were. I thought Wonga had an all right game the other day. He didn't touch the ball as much as he did, but he didn't do anything wrong. I thought Bailey was still poor. In saying that, I dropped Wonga first.
Why can't we swap him around like last year?
Correct. I would put Bailey in the centres. He did the job there in the finals. Give him his chance in the centres. He's clearly not a winger. He struggles. You don't really see him finishing off many tries. Opportunities where he's had to finish off stuff. He hasn't done the job and he doesn't know how to diffuse a 40-20 properly. But maybe it's just Hayes still isn't quite ready for NRL first grade. But
what's Hayes doing at the moment? Like, have you boys watched New South Wales Cup?
So he got through New South Wales Cup and played the full 80, and scored a try. So
he looked good, or
yeah, he ran out strong. I forget his meters, but yeah, he meant both, and even Arcee at center. Like the guys are 5'8", and they've put him in the center, and he even played good and completed the full 80. So yeah, I don't know whether having good old Mustard at center is a sign for the next couple of weeks, just in case, or.
This is my only criticism here of Brad Arthur, and I know just before I said I love the bloke and everything, but we've had some disappointing results the first 3 weeks, and literally this lineup, the Hands is the only change that hasn't sort of been forced, where Maddo was always coming back. You've lost 3 in a row. How do you just continue to just put out the same players, where there's players in there like Hayes who can come on, drop either, for mine be Bailey, but drop either Bailey or one or whatever wants to happen, and just start making a statement to say to these players, we need to step up. Like, what we're doing is not working. It's not good enough.
Every other grade won last week except for us.
I can give you a very simple answer to that. All right. Brad thought from Bailey and Wonga that the effort was there. Sorry, guys.
Number 11.
I couldn't help myself.
But I'm just disappointed.
Our best players out there on the field first.
But what I really want to say is it shouldn't matter if we win or lose games. If a bloke's doing a job in New South Wales Cup and he's proving himself better than someone in first grade who may be making errors, doesn't matter if we're winning the game 54-6. If Bailey Simonson or Will Penasini has a shocker, you need to make the player accountable. And that's what puts pressure on blokes to perform. And that's what we haven't seen in our club for a number of years. I think Chris Sandow was the last bloke to get dropped for not performing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So, it's got to happen. And
to be fair, out of that triangle of, say, Bailey, Wonga and Hayes, I feel like Hayes is up above both of those two when he's fully fit, which it sounds like now he finally is. So whoever we replace him with, it's a step up for us, and it should be someone who
Hayes can play center as well.
So we're even more comfortable with that. Like it's just for mine. It's a selection that is sort of a safe one in terms of a change to sort of make everyone step up, but it's something that says to the boys, you know what, it's not good enough. Like we've got to go here. Like it's already 3, it could soon be 0 and 4, and it could be almost season gone away.
The thing I'm probably disappointed about, and it came out today in the press conference from Brad, Adam's favourite press conference person, but it was the fact that he hasn't watched the grand final replay. And you listen to... So he hasn't watched it, and his reasoning was, why would you want to watch it now? I'll watch it later. It's not going to change anything. Well, you talk
Every other player's watched it, but... Junior's watched it like 12 friggin' times.
Yeah, so No. Well, you're not going to learn anything and take it out the field, are you, Joel? I don't know, but
Never know. Could get called
maybe,
a Parra after this.
I don't know,
maybe
I'm
in your
pretty
seventh,
pretty
seventh,
pretty sure
seventh, first,
pretty sure I could have
seventh,
come up with a
first.
better coaching plan for that grand final than what
But
we did with him.
you listen to the experts, and they say that you watch that grand final, and you'll learn something, and you'll take it out of that game, and take it into other games. But for him to not watch it and learn something out of it, it's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's get a bit more positive and let's think positive that we're going to win this game. So I'll go to you first, Hayden. Where are we going to win this game? Not Combank Stadium. Where are we going to win the game?
And not on the field either.
All right, for
And
me,
don't tell me the effort has to be there, for Christ's sake.
For me, I think it's one in the halves. I was actually surprised to see Jerome Luai named for the Panthers. He was in a moon boot a couple of weeks ago against the Rabbits, but
Just for show.
I think the goal kicking of Moses hasn't been great, but I think his playing ability in the last 2 weeks at least has been fairly good. Definitely not near worth that money, but I think Brown and Moses are really going to step up in this game, up against some quality halves in Luai and Cleary. So I think for me it's an important battle there in the battle of the number sixes, Jerome Luai and Dylan Brown, and I think this is a week where Dylan Brown steps up.
Fuck, I hate Luai. Yep. Joel?
Yeah, what Hayden said. It'd be a bit different. I'll say the motor, the engine room, so to speak. I feel like our big boys, Junior, Reg, if they're up and going once again, hopefully they're not absolutely getting driven in terms of minutes and just run to a standstill. But I feel like it's a big game, so they obviously will. Brad Arthur probably playing both for 60-odd minutes. Maddo comes back. Probably gets a hat trick. Who knows? He needs to make up for it. So,
Hang on. Sportsbet's getting the odds up on that one. Continue.
he needs to do something to help us out. But yeah, I feel like especially like Cartwright starting, I'm not too sure about. I know he's a prop, but after last week, I would have rewarded Macca and just let him start and just let him go berserk for a bit and get a bit of muscle out there. And then take him off and let maybe Cartwright come on once Penrith are a bit tired and get a bit more flair in around the forward pack and the edges. I don't know if Cartwright's the player we want to start against the Premiers, so that's not probably for mine the best message to send. So our forwards can step up, play tough like they have in the past. I feel like we can get the job done.
Look, I think Joel's just stolen my thunder. Definitely the engine room needs to step up. We saw in the grand final last year, Leota and Fisher Harris pretty much control that first 10, 15 minutes against our two big boppers. So I'm sure they'll want to get the upper hand against them this time. But I probably would have made the change of bringing Ogden in and taking Greg out just for a bit more size. Just for a bit more size, and yeah,
Trying to make him angry, eh?
That's the. Well, those two have to run it, yeah, Adam. So I'll be there when that happens, and we'll see what happens, eh?
I mightn't go to Melbourne in July. I mightn't make it out alive.
But yeah, so as Joel says, it's up front. They need to get the ascendancy in those first 10, 15 minutes. And we've got to start well. Preferably score first and just roll off the back of that and hopefully get the momentum in the game.
Yep, Cleary gets sent off would be nice.
Yeah. Huh?
Yeah, so my strategy would be kick early. Force there, because don't
mix it up.
We should do it every week. It shouldn't matter who we're playing. We should be kicking early.
Yeah, 100%. So if you look at the way the Penrith structure is, and I feel like this would work, but the back four take the first couple hit ups, and the forwards don't have to go all the way back. So say we kick out, they have to then go all the way back and take the first couple hit-ups, the forwards, which tires them out more because Penrith only play their forwards for like 30-minute stints.
Use the old Brian Smith tactic, eh?
Use the old, yeah. So I would kick on the third tackle out, and I'd have Dylan kick and Mitch chase because Mitch is faster than probably anyone on that field. But it forces To'o, Crichton, and actually to run back, not just jog back on the fourth tackle and wait for the kick on the fifth. They'd have to actually sprint back, which zaps their energy and gasses them out, and then they don't have the energy for the powerful carries out of their own half. So it traps them in their own half, and I think that they need to just run at Jerome all day because I'm sorry, Gardner is not kick out. And just like we say, Dylan's missing lane, Jerome's missing kick out. So I'd be sending as much attack down that side as possible. So
the other little thing I think of is Taruva as well on the wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well. He's a very
he's short, cross kick.
Well, he's short and he's not as experienced player as well. He's only just started playing first grade as well. So
yeah, I thought May was serving his injury next year, so I thought May would have been there. Sorry. Serving
his injury or serving his suspension from the
we hasn't served his suspension
finals from 2022. But just maybe target him as well because he's an inexperienced player and in a big game as well.
We've seen it in the past though. We will let both those two players you just named will probably score two because we always make these players look like superstars. It happens every week.
I personally believe we have to go very simply. Look at our game plans from when we played out at Penrith last year. I know the other game was a bit different. We played a bit more, but we went away from that structure a fair bit. Our forwards went away from throwing these offloads and stuff just to the tough carries, which we didn't do well in the grand final, which I need to get back to. Our forwards absolutely dominated in the 2 times in the regular season, especially early on. Looking at the game at Parramatta, we'd already won that game before Cleary. Even if Cleary didn't get sent off, we're scoring off that try, off that penalty. Even if it just gets penalised, we were running through them with ease. We're scoring to make it 18, whatever it was, 18-4, 18-6. So, to me, we need to play that ad-lib football, go away from that structure a bit because that's where you can catch them out. But a big one for me is I think it's Hodgson's turn to stand up. And we know they're missing Appy. There's no doubt they're missing Appy. He can put on a bit of a hooking masterclass here and really work over Kenny if Kenny is the one to start. And obviously they play that 14 as well to bring him on. But if we're going to play those hard through the middle, it's his job to stand up and just some simple pick sets. So some left, right, just get pick sets, get set, whatever you want to call them, getting out the middle of their field, getting out their hooker will really work him over. And that's where we can beat him through the middle. And then for me, that'll make the job easier for our forwards coming on where we've struggled as well to run straight through there. And we can play off the back of that. It means Mitch and Dylan aren't doing as much. They can set up and they can play that ad-lib footy. So, right, let's get bold because we've been going an hour and 13 minutes and we haven't got Hayden to listen to us the whole time anymore. So, I'm going to start and I'm going to go. My first try scorer will be Ryan Madison. And that's just not because he's returning. I often like a little bit of a double on Maddo first try scorer. Usually about $23, gamble responsibly. And my predicted score is going to be 26-18 Parramatta. And my bold prediction is for Brad to say the effort was there 3 times. No, I'm just joking. My bold prediction, I went with it last week, so I'm going to change it up. I'm going to go Josh Hodgson to kick a 40-20.
Ooh.
All right. I won't go to Matt next. Joel?
I'll go Gutho first try scorer. I'll go Parra 22, Penrith 18. And I'll say my bold will be Wonga will score a double.
Ooh.
And we'll do an 8 out of 10 game. He will be one of the shining lights.
Well, they're going to be trying to bomb him.
He'll do it.
Well, he's not. He may be back there, so that'll be all right.
Yeah, if they're bombing him, they're doing some pretty shitty kicks all night. So that's fine.
Hayden?
I actually think we'll win this game. Look, coming into
because he's back. Round one.
What did
Coming
you
into
say
the
last week?
Yeah, I said you watch will win when Hayden comes back.
Yeah, well, look, it is my first game back in attendance, so we'll see if we are
After
the Bees'
suspension.
lucky charm. Look, I was leaning towards a bit of a home fight up 13 pluser, but I can't do it. So my scoreline's very close to Adam's. Actually, my score is 26-16. I've got 3 NRL games with the same bloody score this week in my tips. My first try scorer is probably my man of the match because it goes into my bold prediction, which Adam hasn't liked some of my bold predictions lately, and this one he's mentioned in negativity, so he won't like this one. But, man, I think it's going to happen, and you've seen how well he's run. So my first try scorer is Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown is going to have a try assist and run for 200-plus meters against Penrith on Thursday night.
Like 200 actual good meters, like he makes 2 line breaks or 200 running.
What's he going to take? 2 intercepts? 2 lengths of field
Nah,
intercepts?
I guess one will be a line break. I don't know if he's going to get an intercept, but some big run meters. He's going to crack it this week, and he's going to score first. He's in for a big game.
All right. Dylan to have a big game. That's Hayden's bold prediction. Troy?
Okay, well, score will be 28-20. First try scorer will be... Oh, look, I'm going to go back to him. Will Penasini. He played good last week. He's going to score a try because he...
Is he down that side, but what side is he down?
Unfortunately, knocked the ball on last week, so he's going to get a try this week.
He'll be against Crichton, won't he? No.
No. He'll be against Tago and
Tongo, yeah.
Tonga.
There you go. So, yeah, he'll get one over him. And bold prediction will be... bold prediction. Brendan Hands get a try on debut.
Ooh. That's going to be hard in 2 minutes.
Troy also loves a handy.
It'll be hard to do that in 2 minutes, he gets.
No, because as we saw last week, the replacement's got more than 5 minutes. So that trend's going to continue. So he'll get more.
He'll come on for
minutes.
Hodjo.
He'll come on before half time. If you're playing a hooker, he's got to come on about that 30-minute mark. I'm going to say 30 minutes.
Tire their forwards out and then put him on.
So, yeah, try on debut for Brendan Hands, and congratulations for making your debut.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit disappointed.
Are you going to congratulate him for scoring a try then?
I am a little
He's
bit
that confident because he's like got 2 out of 3 the 3 weeks or something. He's got 2 right.
I really thought that we would have seen Kai Rodwell make his debut before Brendan Hands, but anyway, hopefully next week. Matt?
All right, so I've got 36-16.
Ooh!
I think Parra is just going to use that grand final motivation, and I hope...
You know 16's above 12, yeah?
Yeah, I know. I changed it up, mate. Don't worry.
We're not going to get a 14 first, are we?
Hopefully, 14-0. Yeah, no.
Nah.
Hopefully they play some sort of grand final promo to fire them up. First try scorer, I got Wonga. And my bold prediction, because there's like 5 of them playing, 2 ex-Panthers players to score for the Eels.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good chance because there's, 4 of them?
Wonga, Hopgood, Cartwright.
5.
Cartwright, RCG, Hands.
Yeah, fair enough.
So 5 of them.
And there's also a 70% chance of rain as well. So maybe the high scores won't happen. So that could be a bold prediction, a real bold prediction, mate. Your scoreline.
I've got another bold prediction that Matt will be standing there as the players warm up with an iPad going, watch this video, fire up.
As they're walking in, I'm going to tell them all. Round one.
Just bring your umbrella, Matty.
Can you guys give me a hero's welcome when I walk in as well? I'll sign a couple of things for you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. All right, that's all we've got time for. It's been a pretty long episode, so Reese, hope you're still listening. Hour 20 in, so we've got one viewer listening now. Like I said, obviously it's not make or break. I I personally believe out of the first 5 games, obviously we're 0-3, but we need to win 1 because we go on a bit of an easier run where we could easily win 4 in a row after this. So it'd be good to be 4-4 at least at one stage. We'll have to work to be 5-5. So obviously a pretty big day. And like I said, we always seem to get ourselves up against the Premier. So hopefully we can do it and get the job done on Thursday night, and what should be a pretty big crowd.
Well, thank you very much for listening and watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Entertain House on YouTube so you can watch his fantastic podcast, and also subscribe on Apple and Spotify as well. As soon as you do that, it will drop every week. So thank you for listening. Go Parra, and we'll catch you next week.